Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to give you 10 lines from Loki Episode 1 that mean more than you think. Stick around for the end of the video. I'm going to tie some of those up into a theory and tell you how this season's going to end, possibly the story going into Season 2 and beyond. So let's do this. So as we all saw in Endgame, Loki escaped with the Tesseract, but very shortly after he was picked up by the TVA and very rudely processed through their very bureaucratic system that they have in place. This did seem very similar and seemed like a callback to Thor's experience in Ragnarok. And then we get to this scene here and this line, I think.
Please confirm to your knowledge that you are not a fully robotic being. We're born an organic creature and do in fact possess a soul.
So robots aren't allowed into the TVA. I mean, why is this? Do they only have jurisdiction over living beings? I don't think that's going to be the case. Is it because their weaponry doesn't work, on inanimate objects? But no, when we see Casey's car get reset, pruned as they call it.
It's so messed up!
So no, I don't think it's any of these. I think it's more likely that robots are a real threat to the TVA. We've seen life model decoys or LMDs in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that don't know that they're robots. But then we get to characters like Dr. Doom, who has an army of Doombots. And again, they're so sophisticated that they think they're Dr. Doom and can even fool low-level telepaths. And then obviously we get Kang the Conqueror, who does use robots to rule timelines while he's off conquering other timelines. So yeah, there are some major villains in the Marvel Universe who do use robots. So that's probably the reason for that. Shortly after this, we get the great animated scene with probably more MCU history than we have so far on screen. But this one line in particular speaks out to me.
Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy.
So yeah, the word unique timelines. So far in the MCU, we're just seeing the branching of timelines. But these are just different events playing out. A sequence, I think they reference it. A sequence violation. But it's always the same people just doing different things or taking part in different events. But what about, the timelines featuring Tobey Maguire? Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, the X-Men or the Fox franchise. What about all them? Are they included in these? That would explain the unique timelines and the fact that the Fantastic Four, all the Sony stuff, anything they didn't hold a license for hasn't featured yet in the MCU because it was basically pruned by the TVA. When we first meet Agent Mobius, he's in the church tracking down this variant after one of his teams has been taken down. And we do hear this line after the brief interrogation with the girl.
No, we won't get anything. Yeah, just give it a shot.
So this line tells us, the audience, that not only does the variant that they're tracking down has the ability to travel forwards and backwards through time and is very capable of covering their tracks even from the TVA themselves. So this, to me, is this inside knowledge? Is he getting help from someone inside the TVA? Or is it a former TVA agent? The point later on in the episode, this variant has taken out 6 of these teams, of these hunters, over the course of a week. So he's travelling up and down the timeline, picking up an object, dropping off earlier on in the timeline, knowing this will cause a Nexus event, and basically luring a team of hunters in, taking that team of very capable hunters out, and then stealing their reset charge. But yeah, the fact that they're able to cover their tracks and not leave any traces so the TVA themselves can't find them, that seems very impressive. So they must have help. During the interview, we get this line here.
No doubt in a last-ditch effort to stave off my ascent to God King.
Is a sense of God King, so obviously, Loki believes he's entitled to, or he's destined to rule. Mobius, Owen Wilson's character kind of, belittles him a little bit, like, of what? Just of Earth? What about all of space? And this may be important later on in the show, I don't know. But, he's kind of planting the seeds, like, literally a day ago, Loki was content to just conquer Earth and rule Earth as a king. Yeah, he says maybe go on to rule Asgard and that, but I don't think he really had any intention of that in the near future. But Owen Wilson's basically just planted the seed in his head here. So yeah, again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, me myself included, devastated at this line.
Little solace to a dead man.
So yeah, it's official, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't happen, not in the sacred timeline as it were. There is a possibility that they just didn't tell him on that Coulson did actually come back to life and they had events later on, but no. Coulson dead. Yeah, maybe it did happen but was then pruned by the TVA, but they seem to get on that pretty quick. But maybe it will happen if this sacred timeline should go into madness. So, number 6.
That's the proper flow of time, and it happens again and again and again.
That's the proper flow of time, and it'll happen again and again and again. Does this imply that the sacred timeline just sets a loop over and over again? Is this how the TVA have so much knowledge? Is this how they know which timelines will cause effects later on, because they're just going round in a circle and they've got ultimate knowledge now because they've gone round so many times? So again, referring back to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. timeline, did that actually happen? And then the next time the time loop happened, they just trimmed that branch? Only time will tell, I suppose.
You were born to cause pain and suffering and death, all so that others can achieve their best versions of themselves.
So that others will achieve the best versions of themselves. This is very true to Loki's character in Norse mythology. I mean, he does bring around Ragnarok, which again is all about rebirth and change. That is a feature of his character in Norse mythology. So are we really meant to believe that Loki's destiny in the sacred timeline was to let the Avengers join together? I mean, seems a bit lame for a prince of Asgard. Okay, so one day earlier, Loki had his heart set on having control of the Tesseract, which he thinks is just the greatest power, and he was content to rule on Earth. Not long later, he finds out that he's completely helpless. The biggest power in the universe, as he thought, it was completely useless, just junk in a drawer. And now he sees that the TVA are very formidable. He asks,
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
earlier on, I was saying that he feels entitled or destined to rule. And Owen Wilson's planting this little seed in his head now that maybe, just ruling Midgard could be beneath him, just a bit small fry, a bit low key, as it were. So yeah, I mean, maybe he's gonna set his heights a little higher, do we think? And this, of course, is followed by the next line, number 9.
Glorious purpose.
So his favourite quote, my favourite quote, kind of built the whole channel around it, is glorious purpose. My glorious purpose to bring you nerd culture, news and reviews. Obviously, Loki has now got his eyes set on a more glorious purpose, I believe. Yeah, he sees what a waste of time that glorious purpose he has really was, due to the hands of Thanos. Nasty. So maybe he's got his sights set on something a little bit higher now, a little bit grander. We've just seen the greatest power in the universe. Mobius comes in after Loki's little escapades, and Loki does say the TVA are formidable. Mobius replies with,
That's been my experience.
That's been my experience. So is Mobius a form of variance, do we think? It seems by that line alone, it seems he has been on the receiving end of the TVA. Maybe it's just that they're doing actions that he completely doesn't agree with. I think he is a form of variant. I think that's what happens. I think they find variants that are going to be useful to them, sort of offer them a job. And I think Mobius has been there working his way up for a long, long time. So that's the 10 lines in Loki episode 1 that I think were quite important and the reasons why. So what do I think is going to happen going forward? Well, I don't know. And this video is dragging on a bit, so I probably will make another video to break that theory down in more detail, hopefully. But basically the theory is going to go that, Loki has just realised that what he was doing was, completely beneath him. He's just seen all these Infinity Stones just lying around. They mean nothing. So I'm sure you can figure out where I'm going with this. I think he's going to set his sights on the TVA. And he's going to want to try and rule the universe. I think the variant of Loki that we are going to be chasing is going to turn out to be a female variant. We probably will find this out episode 2 or 3 pretty early on. I think that will be one of the first twists. And I think this character is going to be being told what to do by an old man Loki, played by Richard E. Grant. He was cast early on, but he hasn't been in any of the marketing, so I think they're keeping his character hush-hush. I think there is going to be a big twist. I think so. It's going to be a young female Loki being told what to do by a old man Loki, played by Richard E. Grant. She's going to try and come into the TVA, and she wants to wipe out the whole TVA, reset it, which will completely undo all their work. So Loki's probably going to try and, I don't know, is he going to try and join her? Is he going to stop her? I think he's going to stop her. I think that scene that we've seen with them both sitting there talking, I think that's going to be the end of a timeline. Loki's caught up with her, he's sort of talking around, talking her down. Obviously a little bit too late because the timeline's being reset. But then I think he's going to give her the device to get back. And we're going to end up with female Loki in season 2. And that'll be the end of Tom Hiddleston's variant of Loki. For now. And I think this will bring a post-credit scene of Kang the Conqueror appearing. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but I think he's going to try and take over the TVA. He's got his eyes set on a much Gloria prize now. I think this story is telling Owen Wilson. I think this is his new illusion. I think he's going to try and play the weak, vulnerable Loki until he gets an opening, and then I think he's going to try and betray them. And I think we will get maybe a older version of Loki, as it were, you know, revert back to his more mischievous, villainous ways. And yeah, I think it's going to end with Loki probably taking over the TVA, probably at the end of season 2. I don't know if he's going to manage it in the 6 episodes, but I think that's the way things are going to be headed. I think he's going to be playing this buddy cop role with Owen Wilson, learning all he can, and then he is going to take over the TVA. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. If you are still here, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Anyway, bye for now. Farewell.
Better be ready.